What's going on, everybody? It's UTXJG the Don, along with my co-host Ace of All Trades, who has been all over the GI channel for the past couple of weeks.
Y'all not getting rid of me yet.
Yeah, he's still not out of here. But what is going on, people? You already know what time it is. It is time for another GI review, because we beat our games over here. Not TBH though. Not TBH. Because he is now the uninstall king. He is embracing uninstalling his games when he doesn't like it. But I will say, at least this time he has a legit excuse. But we'll get on that in a second. Today, we are going to review Days Gone, as you see in the background. Days Gone, when it first got released, people were like, oh no, another zombie game, right? Because, you know, we love our zombie games. But it's been a lot. It's really been a lot of them. So I understand why people feel a certain way. But I was like, you know what? The game kind of reminds me of Last of Us. It looked eerily similar. And Last of Us was a great game, so, you know, I was like mildly interested, and, you know, I don't really have a problem with zombie games, unlike other people do. So this is why I decided to give it a try when it finally came out. And also, we ended up meeting somebody from Ben Studio that actually creates Days Gone. Me and TBH met him at TwitchCon, and I think that one thing that they didn't do very well with this game is they didn't advertise it properly, because people were like, oh well, you know, what do you do here? Do you just run from zombies the whole time? And the person, shout out to Justin, he actually has the same name as me, but he was saying no, like there are different ways to play the game, and like one of the things that they wanted to do was have different people play through the game, especially stream it, and show people, you know, the different ways that you can tackle certain objectives. So we were like, okay, like you need to actually tell people this. So like I remember when I did an article, you know, I was kind of touting that, but I'm gonna say right now that I think that he was, I'm not gonna say he was telling lies, but it wasn't really the truth there when it comes to like different ways to play the game. Yeah, I mean there are different ways that you can tackle like certain hordes or whatever, but I wouldn't say that there are like, oh my god, there are super duper like intricate branching paths when it comes to doing everything. But those are just like my first kind of things, because a lot of people watching me play it, and you know, you saw the glitches. Everybody saw when TBH played it, and he couldn't even like get past the first like mission. It wasn't even a mission, it was like literally like one of the first things that you do when you craft an item, just to craft a health item. He couldn't do it because it wasn't on the ground. Like that's how bad that the game was at times. Wild. This game was very glitchy. I'm gonna say that the game was very glitchy. Unfortunately, like we saw some bad glitches before the game even came out. We were hoping that they were going to fix it. They did fix a lot of them, but there were still a lot of glitches that were in the game, and unfortunately, like that was one of the biggest drawbacks besides the story that we get into. So it was just a lot of negative things surrounding the game, and after playing it, I understand why like someone would easily avoid it or not even be interested in the first place when it comes to Days Gone. And you know, I ended up sacrificing my time, my precious time, to play the game. But you know me, when it comes to playing a game, if it's halfway decent, if I can actually play it and there aren't any game breaking bugs, I'm going to play it. I'm going to play through it, and I'll let you all decide for yourselves if you want to actually purchase or not. So again, those are like my general thoughts before we get into the details on Days Gone. It was just really a glitchy mess, and it took way too long for the story to fully develop. But once I got to the end, it was actually okay. It was okay. It wasn't, you know, the best thing smoking out here, but it was okay. I'm like mildly satisfied when I actually got through the entire thing. So Ace, what are your general thoughts about the game before we get into the details?
To put it pretty simply, it's a game that has a great story but takes too long to get to where the story continues to pull you in. I'm the type of gamer that if I'm going to put my time into something, I'm gonna try to beat it, especially if I can kind of see the potential. I'm kind of on the side of I got the glass is half full compared to it being half empty. And yes, I did deal with glitches, which we'll get into. But I felt like the story was going to get to a point. I just knew that I had to push through it 6 to 8 hours before the story got great, and that's what happened. So yeah, I'm okay with how the game ended up turning out to be. I think that the bugs were and glitches were ridiculous and unacceptable. And we already knew that the game was going to be glitchy. The game was already held back enough. They should have held it back even longer, to be completely honest with you. But my experience overall was okay with the game because the story got better. But it's only because of the story. But I'll be negative on a criticism.
Okay. All right, so we can at least agree on that point. Like, we thought that the game was decent once, you know, we got towards the end of the game. So okay, so let's get into the technical aspects before we get into the story, because that's like a really big subject here, because I feel like that's the strongest point. We definitely agree that that's the strongest point of the game. The technical aspects and what you actually do in the game. So this is an open world game. If you didn't know, it's not a linear experience. So you do ride around on a bike a lot. That's like one of your main things that you do. It's more of a survival type of thing, even though like obviously not everything is realistic, but I think that's what the studio was touting for, was to make it more of like a survival thing. So one of the aspects, which is besides the glitches and the fact that the story takes a long time to flesh out, one of my biggest issues technically with the game is the shooting. You're going to be shooting a lot, and the shooting is terrible bad. It's not terrible, it's terrible bad. Like the first time that I got to shoot, I was like, yo, like, am I just like really bad with the controller now? It had me questioning my own abilities, because there is no auto aim. There is an aim assist, but it's very, very minimal. Now other people were telling me, hey, you know, when you get the upgrades, it makes it a little easier. A little bit, but not really, bro. It's hard, so you gotta adjust, because you're really not getting any help here. It's very, very difficult. And again, I understand if that's the point, if they wanted to be more of a survival game, so they wanted to make it difficult, but on controller, I really can't find that acceptable for you to just have no aim assist in the game to help you out, because it's very difficult, especially when you're facing a wave of enemies, especially when you're facing the horde, because the horde, they'll get on you fast, and when you cannot shoot correctly, first of all, it makes you look dumb if you're streaming it, and second of all, you will get clapped. Trust me, you will get clapped if you're not good enough. So that was one of my things. Now the melee is cool, like the melee aspects is cool. I don't really have any problem with that, but it's just really the shooting was my biggest issue. Along with that, like again, like when you're riding the bike and like you have to like constantly fuel up and stuff, again, that's kind of like where the survival aspect come into play. You got to collect items, and you're crafting a lot of things. Those are cool. Those weren't really issues to me, because again, that kind of really like furthers my opinion on like what they were trying to make the game out to be, more of a survival aspect, because you are surviving. You're out there in Oregon, you're out in the middle of nowhere, there's nothing going on in the world because the world has been ravaged, and that's what they want you to do. They want you to collect items, and they want you to feel like, you know, you're the only one out there and that you're trying to survive. But the shooting mechanics overall just kind of made it like not as enjoyable as I felt like it could have been, and I felt like that was kind of a bad design mechanic for Bent Studio. So how do you feel about like the technical aspect and the overall like gameplay?
Well, I definitely do understand that this is a survival-based game. Completely understand that, and I'm okay with that. But I think that the shooting in this game is completely unacceptable. I think it's worse than Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 2. When it comes to shooting, it's not even factored on keyboard. I mean, on controller. To be completely honest with you, I don't care about the aim assist, but the fact that you literally have to. The only way that the shooting truly gets better is if you take the Nero stops and you increase your focus, because that aim assist is not going to help no matter what. So you have to truly increase your Nero. You have to find a Nero outpost. You have to inject yourself with that ability that's going to increase your focus. And then even after increasing your focus, you still have to use the necessary skill points to be able to have a better aim when it comes to this game. And yeah, it's really bad. It's really, really bad. When you hit with a headshot, you hit with a headshot. I found myself, because of how terrible the shot was, I found myself using the sniper rifles more than anything else in this game. Anything else. And I abused the hell out of the focus. And if that's what they wanted us to do, so be it. But overall, shooting terrible. Didn't necessarily get any type of technical glitches until the end of the story when you're in the cave on like that with Sarah, when they after the general moves everybody in, or the arc. But there was a cutscene where the floor in the cave was missing. It allowed me to be able to go through the cutscene, but the moment I loaded into the game, I fell straight through the mountain into water, and I had to stop my game and start it over again.
Ooh, yikes. Yeah.
And that was multiple times, and I got scared because like I know I didn't put all this hours into this game until me to get a game breaking bug, because I was legit gonna be upset about it. And I agree with you, JG. I got a Last of Us type of vibe initially, until, to be completely honest with you, unless you're clearing out Nest, you're only gonna get materials from Molotovs, and the ammo is very plentiful, and you're making so much camp credits that you're going to be able to refill your ammo all the time. So that's pretty much it. But technically, I didn't have any technical issues towards the end of the game. There was some moments where Boozer would glitch into me, or Sarah would glitch into me, some of the characters in the game. And there are some weird scenes where when I heard Sarah's voice, even though I was Deacon. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I agree. I did not personally experience any game breaking bugs, but I know one constant bug that I've experienced, and I don't know if you did, was the binoculars. Sometimes when I, started a new playthrough and I was about to stream or whatever, all of a sudden my binoculars, I couldn't use it. And I had to clear out of the game and come back in order for me to use my binoculars again. I'm like, why is this a glitch? It was another glitch that I had where I had the Tommy gun. It was like when I got to the last camp, I bought the Tommy gun and I couldn't shoot it.
Oh, I had that issue multiple times. Click.
Yeah,
didn't work. Full clip, everything, reloaded, all of that. Mind you, happened when you're next to a horde.
Yep.
Even when you're in focus mode.
Yep.
Multiple
I was
times
like,
happened.
yo, what is going on? I had to pick up another gun, that I got off of somebody else just to clear them, because I was gonna die. Like it got really bad. So like, it's little things like that again, like if you have no patience, like TBH, like we were saying, like we made fun of him, but again, I'm not mad at him, because like he saw the first glitch and he was like, yo, I don't even have time for this. I don't even want to do it. So if you see things like that, as a consumer, why would it prompt you to still get the game and try to go through it? Like, this is what we're saying. So it gives the game and gives the studio a bad look that like these glitches are happening still when like you had time. Again, we don't know how much time you had, but if you had this many glitches in the game and then things that can be game breaking, maybe you should have pushed the game back instead of putting it out like this, because again, it gave you a bad rap before the game even came out, because we seen some game breaking glitches. So like I said, it was really bad on that aspect. Mission structure, let's get on that. Mission structure wasn't really anything unique. You're doing a lot of fetch quests, because that's what Deacon really is. Like he just a dude who does bounties for these different camps. He's a drifter, right. So he just he wants his money and he just does bounties, and that's pretty much it. So there wasn't really anything unique about it. Like every now and then, you'll have to rescue somebody, or once you get toward the end, you have to actually deal with the hordes, because the game wasn't gonna let you get out that easy. Like most of the hordes you could avoid, but there were missions at the end where you had to clear out the hordes in order to continue, and if you did not, then you wouldn't be able to progress with the story. So those were the hardest missions that I've experienced. Like people say me die like multiple times on some of these hordes, because they were really, really bad. Like they'll fuck you up, excuse my language, but they will mess you up, and it's really hard, especially like when you're running out of ammo, when you're running out of materials, you're trying to get more materials while you have like almost damn near 1,000 freakers chasing you. you at one time, yo. Like when I got to like the last horde at the mill, the sawmill,
bro, you need to know the ins and outs of that farm and everything like that to be able to get there, or else you are going to get destroyed.
Yeah, absolutely. So that took me a good minute, especially like with no ammo, no nothing, like just trying to hoard them around. Like it was like Call of Duty zombies on crack, bro. It got really bad trying to kite these zombies around, you know, and then you running out of all of the materials. You can't leave the area. You gotta try to, you know, make do with what you have. So you gotta melee some of them. So like it got really bad at times, and that was obviously like the hardest part of the game when you had to deal with the horde towards the end. But other than that, man, like the mission structure was just there. Like you were just like, I feel like at times I was just blindly doing things that were, again, some missions that were cool, that you did some unique things, like the part where you found like the wolf type of freaker, the one that was fast, and you were in the cave in the darkness after you found out what happened to O'Brien's crew.
He was easy if you had
he ended up being
focus.
easy. Yeah,
all you had to do is just focus him up. If you have the high power sniper rifle, was either the military grade or the grade just below it, and you hit him with the focus, bow bow bow, right in the chest, done.
Yeah,
over.
So he wasn't that bad, and then the horde came after that. The horde was actually harder than he was.
But then there was a ledge where you can just be able to sit there and just throw bombs,
just take them out,
and then just focus mode again. And if you had the perk when you kill them, headshot killed and everything like that, you get stuff back. Oh yeah,
right. So that wasn't that hard, but I would say like the quote unquote like boss encounters weren't really difficult at all. I was expecting them to be like a little bit more, but even like when you found the boss encounters, those weren't hard, because like the Ripper, the leader of the Rippers, like you just had a fucking knife fight and that was it. But it didn't last long. Yeah, you didn't really do much. Like it was just, okay, you beat him and that was it. And then you thought that was the end of the Rippers, but apparently it wasn't. Like I thought that, you know, all of them were gonna be like, because there was some cult shit. That was the Rippers were definitely on some cult stuff, but like I thought that was it. And then apparently they came back later, but it still wasn't really fulfilling when you killed the leader. It was just like, okay,
let them out.
Yeah, it was just like, all right. So like the boss encounters were weak. So again, the hardest part of the game, and probably the most satisfying for me, the mission structure was facing the hordes. Even though they were difficult, like it brought that, you know, level of challenge that, you know, made the game fun. So what do you think about the mission structure? Because it was
nothing special or anything like that, so we don't need to spend much time on it. It was, go do this. This is Radio Free Oregon, and the government is telling you to do this time, but we're gonna rise above it.
Don't believe the lies.
Yeah, don't believe the lies. Radio Free Oregon out. Yeah. Or my favorite, hey Drifter, I got a job for you. So someone went AWOL. Or hey Drifter, can you please protect these people? They were going out on a supply run, and a bunch of Rippers got next to them, and now they scattered. Can you please find them? Or hey, I saw a horde, but we need to clear this out so we be able to get supplies. Mind going over to this camp? Or, oh hey, there's an ambush camp right around here. Can you go ahead and take care of them, please? Because when we were having a supply run, somebody they took all of our supplies.
Right.
Rinse, repeat. Only reason why I did it is because in any type of open world games, I know that I need to do those missions to be able to get better skill points, enhance my abilities, to try to make do, progress further in the story.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. My favorite part, like, ended up getting to a point where when they called Deacon, he already knew what was up. Like, I actually chuckled at that.
Got a job for me?
Yeah, he was like, you got a job for me, don't you? He was like, he already knew what was up. He became self-aware because like it just got to the point where it got repetitive. There weren't a lot of side missions though. I'll give him that. Even though they were the same types of missions, there was still a good number of side missions.
There were a lot of them. Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was definitely a lot. So
I'm just gonna throw it out there. Right, I'm gonna throw this out there. Y'all been cute. Look, I think that you guys could have made this game totally better. We've been giving you guys constructive criticism and everything along those lines, but I will say this: we noticed that the survivors that we get from the ambush camp that we can send to the different camps, they're the same dude,
pretty much,
and the same voice.
Right.
Like whoa, like that was serious, you know?
Like I thought I was gonna die. White voice actor, you already know that.
Yeah, like whoa. So there's a camp. Well, a camp. Like Didn't I just saved all, bro? There was 3 survivors that looked exactly the same. Same dude, brunette, short hair, a little heavy set, just different clothes, but the same face for each one of them, and had the same voice, and sent them all to the same camp. I said, bro, y'all couldn't even take the time to make sure that these people were different. Out of all the freakers, the rippers, the people within the camps were, and the NPCs, which were actually different within the camp, why couldn't you guys do the same thing for the survivors?
Yeah,
that's all I asked.
That was kind of lazy. That was kind of lazy.
Yeah, we notice. We take notes of these things.
Yeah. So again, it was just kind of, it was lazy on their part, and it was just really not too much variety in the mission structure overall. So again, that's kind of a knock on them. So let's get to the story, because again, that was the one thing that we said, and pretty much everybody that played the game said was the strongest part of the game. But we're going to tell you why it took a while for it to get that way. So basically, the premise of the story is you play as Deacon St. John, aka Star Killer. A lot of people notice that he plays the same voice actor, Star Killer from The Force Unleashed. So you play as him. He is a drifter, part of a bike gang that obviously dissolved after what ended up happening to Oregon and the rest of at least the U.S. They didn't really say if it was the world that got infected, but at least the U.S. We'll at least say that. So him and his soon-to-be wife Sarah, they were trying to get to safety, along with Boozer, who was also his running mate. Sarah ended up getting stabbed, and through flashbacks as we get later on, we'll find out exactly what happened. But basically, she needed help. Ended up finding the helicopter with Nero, which they didn't know at the time, but it was basically a support helicopter that was going to take a lot of people to safety. So they were trying to all get on, but they were like, we don't have any space. We're going to be over capacity. So Sarah ended up going, and they were like, okay, we're going to go find you. So years passed. You didn't know where Sarah went. You didn't know where everybody else went. Deacon and Boozer just go drifting along. They're called drifters, and that's how they get into the bounty type of work, the mercenary type of work. So that's what they were doing for a while. Deacon has hope throughout the entire game that he's going to find Sarah, that Sarah's still alive. Boozer was like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, why you still think she's alive? Everybody's like, why you think she's still alive? But he had hope. I give him that. He had hope through the entire game. He cried about it a lot. He cried about it a whole lot, but
part of missions, by the way.
Yeah. So that's what ended up happening. A lot of flashbacks, a lot of that stuff. Boozer ends up getting caught by the Rippers, which we talked about, which is a cult. They ended up catching my boy and burning his arm a lot. So they needed supplies, and because of that, they ended up having to go to one of the previous camps that Deacon was kicked out of because of some other stuff. So basically, that was a big aspect of the game too. We're trying to save Boozer. And you'll end up finding out what happened with that if you end up playing the game. I'm not gonna spoil everything, but that was the main aspect of the game, saving Boozer, making sure that he was still alive, and finding your soon-to-be wife, or basically your wife Sarah. And throughout the story, you ended up finding out what happened with her. So again, I'm not gonna spoil everything, but that's really the premise. You're trying to see if your wife is still alive, and you're trying to save Boozer, along with trying to find out what happened, how the freakers even come about, because they're not called zombies in the game. They're called freakers, and they're not exactly zombies. I would call them more like rabid people who got hit with a virus that ended up turning them that way. So you end up finding that out throughout the game too. Again, what we said was the main problem with the story is the story was good. It just took far too long to get to that point where it turned up. It was just a lot of, you're just doing these mindless tasks. You don't really care why you're doing them, because again, your main goal is to find out if Sarah is still alive and save Boozer. You don't care about anything else, but you end up needing these camps for help because you don't have any supplies. And then once you end up getting to that point where you find out if she's alive or not, then the game starts turning up, and that's when you get to a different aspect of the game, and that's when you start dealing with the big hordes. So Ace, how did you feel overall about the story? Were there like any characters that you did or did not like? What are we thinking?
Look, I said this earlier, and I'll say this again. I think that the story actually is a great story once it starts getting into it, but it takes too long for it to develop. There's no reason why it should take over 6 to 8 hours plus for the story to fully be able to develop and get interesting. We see a lot of character development from Deacon, from Boozer, from Sarah, from Ricky, from Iron Mike, from Schizo. You have a lot of memorable characters. You do. Dave Copeland. You have the Sarge. You have a lot of characters that are actually really great for the game, but you have to take so long for it to even turn up at all, and not even just turn up, just get interesting. That I can see why a lot of people would put this game down. Now, of course, you're gonna have some gamers that are gonna be like, "Well, I already put enough time into this. I'm gonna finish it through. I said I was gonna start it, and I'm gonna finish it." And gaming shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be where you feel forced that you have to just push through it. And I feel like that was a problem with this story. It's just that I had to push through to get to where I really wanted to be for the game to actually get better. And it's unfortunate because I think that the characters in the game is dope. Besides the fact that I think that Deacon St. John needs help, because anytime that he kills hordes, kills robbers, all that, he speaks and talks to himself. And you guys are giving us the feeling of somebody has been through it. Oh yeah, he shows it from the military standpoint to now riding with the MC, all of that. But it's a shame that the story, it took so long to get this story to get good, and the story is actually pretty solid. I actually really do like a lot of the characters have their stand out on their own. Ricky, Iron Mike, Schizo, as much as you want to hate them, Deacon, Boozer, Sarah, you got memorable characters, but it takes so long for it to get there that some people don't even get to that point.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
O'Brien, another one. So.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. Like that's another plus that I would say. Like I didn't really hate any characters. Like obviously, like when there are some characters that end up doing some whack stuff, but like they were okay. Like it wasn't any character that I was like, man, you know what? I hate this person. I hope that they die. Or something tragic happens to them in the game. Like I actually, pretty much like for more or less enjoyed everybody. So and I didn't like, I found that to be like kind of rare in video games, but like I actually didn't have a problem. So I'll give them another plus on that. But again, like one of the main issues is that it just took way too long for it to get to that point. And like with all the side missions and stuff, like the game ended up dragging a lot. Like if you did all the side missions, this game probably be like easily, over 40 hours to be honest, because this felt like it took me forever on stream to beat it. I was just like, dang, like we're still going. I
couldn't do it on stream, bro.
It was one person in my stream, shout out to Radical, because he was like real extra about it. He was like trying to help me with everything, but I was like, bro, like chill out. But he obviously beat the game and he liked it enough, because he was definitely trying to tell me what's up. But I got to a point, like when I got to the last camp, he was like, yeah, you got like 4 to 6 hours left, and I was like, oh okay, like I should be able to beat it on stream this session. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, bro, I'm still playing the game. Like you lied, bro. Like what are you talking about? The game was still going. It was probably like another 10 hours from that point, especially if I did like some of the side missions too. So I was just like, damn, when is it gonna end? Like it was dragging along. So man, I'm just like, yo, the pacing is terrible in this game with the story. But once you get to the end, you're like, damn, like all right, I'm kind of glad that I got through it, but it was still like a knock. It still had to be a knock for it taking way too long and the game just dragging along with the same missions over and over. So that was pretty much it with the story, man. So again, like the characters, they're pretty much all memorable. I didn't have a problem with them, and the story once you get to the end is good. Once you find out what really caused the outbreak and all of that stuff, like all of that stuff is interesting, and that's why I wanted to continue chugging along with the game, because I wanted to find out what happened for myself. So it's cool. Again, you gotta have a lot of patience, I feel like, if you want to play a game like this. If it's something that you're just trying to beat like in a week, unless you have a lot of time on your hands and you can play at least like 8 hours a day, you're gonna be on this game for a minute. That's all I'm gonna say. Anything else you want to add about the story or any of the characters?
To be honest with you, I think we're at a point where we can just go ahead and just give it a score because
I agree.
to be completely honest, we've already spent enough. We've given it a lot of constructive criticism. There's some positives, but there are also a lot of negatives. And to be honest with you, this and to everybody that's watching, this game shouldn't have came out the way it did. It's very unfortunate because I had high hopes for this game. It was a new IP with Sony. BenQ was coming through. They showed us a lot. Oh well,
Ben Studio.
Ben Studios, excuse me, I'm thinking of the monitors.
You are.
Ben Studios, yeah, Ben Studios was saying, hey, one thing that we're promoting is the fact that we're gonna have all these zombies or freakers on the screen, and your frame rates are not gonna drop and everything like that. And I will give
that's
you guys
a lie.
That is, I'm sorry. Most of the time I was fine, but towards the end of the missions, the story missions, when you got the bigger hordes, oh yeah, my frames dropped, and I have a PS4 Pro, by the way.
Same.
So yeah, I think it's unfortunate. There's some plus, but there's a lot of negatives with this, and we can go ahead and score it whenever you're ready, JJ.
All right, yeah, I definitely agree. Like I would love to give it a higher score just because, like, again, when I got to the end, it ended up being satisfying. But I was saying it on stream, like, this reminded me of a great value Last of Us. Like, it had the right concept, but it just was not executed properly. Like, again, with all the glitches, the technical aspects, the shooting mechanics, and the story taking forever to flesh out, ended up being like super boring at the beginning, and then finally turning up in like the last, like, I would say like maybe 4 to 6 hours of the game. I would love to give it a high score, but I'm gonna have to give it a 6. Like, and that's again like just really with the story giving it that score, because if it wasn't for that, if the story wasn't mildly interesting towards the end, it would probably get a lower score just because of the glitches and the shooting mechanics alone, because it was not fun dealing with those glitches, and it was not fun trying to shoot and survive throughout the entire game. So so that's what I'm gonna give it. What about you?
I'm giving it a 5.5. Can't get it. Yeah, I've said all I said all that I can say when it comes to this game. Unfortunately, I had high hopes for it. When it comes to it from a game standpoint, I expect more. I expect the game. I understand sometimes there can be glitches and everything like that, and you can apply hot fixes via the network now. We're on the internet and everything like this. But this game should not have been released the way it was. Hands down.
Okay.
I think the story is great, but it gets overshadowed because of all the negative things and the fact that you have to grind 6 to 8 hours to even get to a interesting part of the story. So it's a 5 out of 5. I don't know, 5.5 for me.
Okay, all right. So the official GI score, I'm not going to show my phone, but I did the math. It is a 5.75. 5.75. So I think that's fair. Again, I have no issue with giving it that score. Surprisingly though, this game did very well in the UK. The UK loved this game. It was #1 for weeks. Again, I'm not mad at them because you'll like what you like, and after I beat it, I was like, okay, like the game was decent enough. But again, I can't give it a higher score because of the glitches. Like that stuff should have been fixed. Again, I know that not every game is perfect, but it was just some game breaking glitches for some. Others just a lot of little glitches that ended up making it one big glitch in the end. One big glitch of a game. That's what it ended up being. So again, I had higher expectations for Days Gone, especially after we met the dude at TwitchCon about it, and it didn't end up being how I thought. Once I ended up getting it in my hand. So there you go, people. Play the game if you want to. Again, we're not trying to deter you from anything. Play what you want. If you like it, go ahead and play it. But if you're trusting our judgment, I would say wait on it if you really do want to try it out. Maybe with some patches or hot fixes in the future, because we did get like a couple, I believe, to fix like some little things, but maybe they'll finally get to the rest of the glitches and make the game fully playable for everybody. But again, like if they don't fix that stuff, then I would probably just avoid it. I'm gonna be honest, I'll probably just avoid it. So we went through the struggle, so you don't have to. Just remember that we both went through the struggle, so you don't have to. So there you go, man. That is our GI review on Days Gone. What did you think about our review? What did you think about the game? If you either watched us play it or watched me play it, or if you played it yourself. So let us know down in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Please consider pledging to our Patreon, because we broke out here. I know some of y'all were talking about interning and stuff. We like, what, bro? Like, we broke. Support us financially.
I'm broke.
Yeah, that's what we need. Support us financially, please. I know you want to see us get to a higher level. We would love to do this stuff in person one day. So again, we have a lot of goals in store, but again, we just need to be more financially sound in order to do this. So again, I ain't trying to preach to the choir, but again, I know that a lot of y'all mess with us. So again, like, just supporting us financially will be in telling a friend and tell a friend about it, about GI, you know, spreading the word. That'll be, you know, what we need from you at this point. So again, if you pledge to us on Patreon, you get access to our Discord. If you pay a certain amount of money, again, they're playing 2K like all the time. I know there's a drought going on, but they're always playing games. I know that Ace and TBH and Chaos and Steve, y'all been balling a lot lately. So 2K has been the main thing. A lot of people have been on other games. Apex, I know, is getting the
Monster Hunter coming back.
Yeah, Monster Hunter. You've been playing Monster Hunter. So again, that's a great way to get with the community, especially if you have no games to play with anybody. There's always going to be somebody in the Discord,
Fortnite,
in our GI Discord, yeah, that'll be willing to play something. So again,
Mortal Kombat,
yeah,
everything.
Mortal Kombat, yeah. So we've been playing a lot, and again, you get a chance to be on the GI podcast, and we have a lot of other rewards in store for you. So again, please consider pledging to our Patreon. But this has been UTXJT the Don, Ace of all trades. We will see you all for the next review. We out though. Peace.